Hello, folks. Welcome to the channel.
Speak English with Max.
By the way, that's my friend.
Hey there.
He is going to walk you through the British accent. Hope you recognized. I'm going to focus on the Indian accent. You know what? We're very excited to talk to you about a specific collaboration that we have taken. We too are looking forward to see how this all shapes up. Here is the brief context. What I and my friend intend to do would be to collaborate on the business communication in a typical professional global setting. So, what does that mean in terms of the accent focus? It simply means I'm going to introduce you to the words in the English vocabulary in a typical Indian accent that we are going to employ for business communication. And my friend,
I'll walk you through the words in a British accent.
there you go. Hope you are excited. So, we're going to look at word by word in a business communication setting, particularly in a global setting that you could be looking at from two different accents and the perspectives. Why we think this is important is simply this. I sincerely hope, in fact, my friend is nodding his head as you speak, it's going to significantly bridge the gap, if any, between the diverse teams that you would have that would be anywhere globally placed for seamless communication strategy. Without much ado, let's dive in. Shall we?
Yeah, let's go ahead and learn all of this.
Sure, I'm looking forward to learning as much from you, my friend. Let's do it one by one. Let's look at a typical set of words that you use in the Indian accent. How about starting with an abbreviation? We use something called AGM, and in Indian English, we expand it as Annual General Meeting. What is it, my friend, in British English?
It's annual shareholders meeting.
Wow, good to know. Let's look at the second one. Abbreviation is CV, and we call that as in Indian English curriculum vitae. What is it in British English?
It's resume.
Great to know. So when you go and visit somebody either for networking or for introduction, you use something called visiting card in Indian English. What is the equivalent in British English?
It's business card.
Wow, I'm sure you're going to go places with that introduction.
Yeah, I hope I will.
Another phrase, if you like, we call it as office bearer in Indian English. What is it in British?
It's office holder.
Okay, small difference. In Indian English, we call something that we plan to execute as a timetable. What is the equivalent, or what do you call in British, my friend?
It's schedule.
In British English?
Yeah.
Oh, that's something that I learned today. Thank you very much. So, when you want to note down the points for the day, for example, in Indian English, we call that as diary. So, what do you call in British English?
It's planner.
Planner? Okay. So it took some time to recollect that. Okay, that was quite unique. Sounds well for the depiction of the happening for the day. Planner? Okay, good to know, my
Yes.
friend. So when you want to undergo some training, like for example, viewers are watching this to train themselves, let's say for some kind of vocabulary for a global setting for business communication. So we call the institute which gives you training as the Training Institute in Indian English. What is it? It's called in British English, my friend.
Well, the first word is the same. The second word, there is a change. So it's training school.
Wow. So institute has become school in British English. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's good to know. You know what? We feel like going on holiday mood many times, and we simply call it holiday in Indian English. So, what do you call when you go for holiday in British English?
We go for a vacation.
You don't call it as holiday?
Not much in the UK, so we prefer to say vacation.
Oh, that's a quite often used word for mentioning that you're on holiday. That's good to know as well. Thank you. So, from time to time, you ask peers or your supervisors or some stakeholders for what's called in Indian English feedback. How do you ask in British English for feedback?
Review.
Review.
Yeah.
Okay, so good to know. So, when someone is passing out of a college and joins the job, brand new employee of a company, we call that person a fresher. I'll repeat, fresher in Indian English. So, what do you call a fresher in British English?
Recent graduate.
Oh, that's more like the depiction of the status of that person. Recently, the person has graduated, you mean?
Exactly, you're right.
Oh, that's a good clarity. Let's say when I'm making a presentation to my stakeholders for the purposes of business, I'm going to prepare a set of documentation or the presentation slides for delivering and walking through those stakeholders for a buy-in. We typically call that in Indian English as proposal, which many times we use it to generate some revenue pipelines. So what is the equivalent of proposal in British English? Do you call that as proposal itself?
No, we call it bid.
Oh, that's something that I heard right here. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Let's continue. In Indian accent, we call something as scheme. Let me just guess what you call in British English. Is that scheme again?
No, we more often than not call it plan.
Oh, plan you call it. Fair enough. Okay, you know what? All of us in this day and age use handheld devices. One such is in Indian English called mobile phone. You also call mobile phone in British English?
Well, we call the second word as the same thing as for Indian, but we say cell phone.
Oh, mobile has been replaced by cell and phone is phone even in British English.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's good to know. Sometimes if it's a phrase made up of two words, first word is replaced by something else, like for example, mobile phone, mobile is replaced by cell, whereas phone remains in both the cases. Whereas in another example that I talked about called training institute, training is common in both Indian and British English. Institute in Indian English is replaced by school in British English. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much for the confirmation. Let's look at something. We too are collaborating this. Like I already said, it is quite challenging and exciting for us. If there was anybody other than us in this collaboration, let's say we call that, for the lack of better word, third party in Indian English. Do you also call third party in British English, my friend?
Often we call external provider.
Oh, that's actually very, very informative. You make it so explicit in terms of saying that person is external to you. So you call that as, once again, what is it?
External provider.
Awesome. Let's look at something else. So when you drive a car, what is the back of the car that you're talking about for storing your luggage? In Indian English, it's called boot. I mean to say boot of a car. I reckon this is also boot in British English.
In UK, we say trunk.
But one more time, friend, I didn't register. What is it called in British English for boot?
Trunk.
Trunk. Okay. Is it elephant trunk?
No, it sounds similar to that of an elephant's trunk. So yeah, for boot, we say trunk.
Oh, okay. Thank you again. Oh, I'm a little lazy today. I can't go to 10th floor. I'm right now at the ground floor. What will I use? In Indian English, we use a lift. How do you go to the 10th floor?
We use an elevator.
An elevator. That's great to know. Let's say I'm a little enthusiastic today. Right from the ground floor, I went to the first floor. We call it as first floor. What is it called in British English? You call that a first floor?
No, we call it the second floor.
Second floor, first floor becomes second floor? That's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think opposite of that of the USA, the ground floor in the UK is the first floor in the USA.
Oh, I found a new difference today. First floor becomes second in British English, and ground floor becomes what?
First floor.
First floor. That's something quite interesting, right? Friends, something similar to this if I've come across, let's say between Indian, US or UK, or between US and UK, or India, US and India, UK, any difference of the words which has different meanings for intuitive understanding. Like I understand first floor in a certain way, but second floor is equivalent to first floor in US. So now you can see when you travel, maybe in US, did I get it right? The second floor is in US or UK? Can you confirm, my friend?
It's in the US.
It's in the US. So what's it then in UK?
In UK, a second floor is a third floor because we consider the basement or the ground floor as the ground floor itself, whereas in the USA it's called the first floor.
Awesome. So now I get a better clarity how to go about using these words in a particular setting when I go to multiple countries. So friends, hope you are beginning to recognize the cultural nuances and the cultural settings here. How do we use a typical word in a certain culture or in a certain setting or in a certain geography? I think I just want to make sure. In fact, my friend is nodding his head one more time to make sure this is going to be a global in its appeal. So we're just bringing in flavor of Indian English, and the focus is predominantly from my friend's side and the British English. But my friend is doing a good value add. I'm going to pat on his back. Hope you heard the sound.
Thank you, mate.
Because he's also bringing in the US dimension here to get a bit of diversity, if you like, and it will add to the cumulative knowledge. Okay, so I'm just curious, if first floor becomes second floor in English, what do you call flat that we call typically in Indian English flat? What do you call?
We call apartment.
Oh, okay. So that we also use, but we also interchangeably use apartment and flat together. Do you do that in British English quite often?
An apartment is slightly bigger than that of a flat in the UK.
Okay, that's a good, sounds like a good distinction, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay. There is some word that we use typically in Indian English where we go and seek some legal opinion. We sometimes call it lawyer, some people call them solicitor. What's a broad word that comes to mind when we talk about legal opinion, seeking legal opinion?
It's a lawyer.
You don't call them solicitor quite often?
Solicitor is used more in the US, so yeah, I think we say lawyer.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. We also quite often use lawyer, but sometimes some of us would use solicitor. You know what? We've been doing this collaboration, and I hope it has been interesting for you. If so, why don't you, friends, give it a big fat thumbs up, right? And right now, why don't you give a big fat thumbs up? And those of you who have subscribed, great, we're happy. And those who are thinking, please consider subscribing. And you know what? At the end, there must be some takeaways, right, for you, because you've invested your time to view this. So we call in Indian English as takeaway. What do you call in British English?
Take out.
Take out. So you can see here, there are some nuanced differences of pronunciation and nuanced differences of the vocabulary itself in a business setting. So what I'm talking about here, in fact, my friend is in concurrence with this. You should be mindful of these vocabulary differences, which can enhance the communication when you're particularly collaborating in a cross-cultural setting. Understanding these nuances, in fact, helps you to avoid misunderstanding, isn't it? I would use the word in a certain context, and that word can be interpreted in a certain other context in a different way, could create potential misunderstanding. So a global approach to, or the common use of words in different accents and different English parlance, if you like, would add to avoiding misunderstanding. And what does it do when you learn certain native aspects of it? It fosters a more inclusive environment and ensures that the messages are clearly understood across different regions by different stakeholders. So here is, I'm going to do at the end. So I'm going to give you a call to action. Please take this opportunity to familiarize yourselves with the terms that we discussed. There could be a lot more. This is just the introduction. If you particularly like the way that we are doing, we would like to collaborate more often. And I hope I've said it, assuming that my friend would be okay with it. Let me just confirm.
Yeah, more than happy to do it.
Let's do it then. I think let's wait for the feedback from our viewers here. So please go ahead and familiarize more of these words in a global setting and the terms particularly that we have used and introduced, and incorporate them into your daily communication. If you do this, you can significantly strengthen not just the individual ability to communicate, but if you're dealing with the team, a teamwork to achieve the business objectives more pertinently and effectively. We significantly encourage everyone to keep this handy and refer to this as and when needed. And you know what? All good things must come to an end. And it's been great collaborating with my friend. And I'm going to thank you for your time and attention. And we are confident that the guidelines, if we can think of them in certain level, will enhance the communication and collaboration across your global teams. If you have any questions or need further clarification, please do not hesitate. Feel free to reach out. And you know how to do this, right? Yes. Comment in the comment section down below. We will continue to work towards our shared goals. And you know what? Thanks for your time. And you have a great day ahead.
Thank you, mate.
There you go. Cheers. See you in the next video.
Cheers. See you in the next video, guys. Till then, take care and bye for now.
Bye-bye.